thank you for being here today, our mother-daughter duo. Let's start with you, Randy. Tell me about your condition and your journey of the heart.
I have a condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It is a hereditary genetic issue. My mother has it. I was diagnosed with it in my early 40s. When I had my children, we knew of this issue, and my children were tested for the genes. My daughter carries the gene, my son does not.
How did you get initially diagnosed? Did you have symptoms or?
I was having heart palpitations that were unusual that I, hadn't experienced previously. So I was just having some weird feelings and ultimately went to the cardiologist and had a few tests and discovered that I had it. And then it was then connected that my mother had the same.
Did you know your mother had the same condition?
Not at
or-
the time. No, it was never really an issue. Like, I don't ever recall any issues whatsoever with her. It was just,
Yeah.
it just came
And at
up.
what point did you realize that mom had this heart condition?
Not until I was much older and I started getting tested. My brother and I would go get tested every year. And
Okay.
then once I tested positive for the gene and he didn't, he stopped going. And then I
Oh.
was the only one.
How old were you when you got tested for the gene?
Well, we started when I was young.
Very young.
Yeah.
Very young. Probably
10?
maybe even
Yeah.
younger. Maybe even younger, I think.
So at 10 years old, you got genetic testing. Do you remember any of this?
Yeah,
or-
I remember going to the doctor and they would put on a little movie, a Disney movie, while we would get the what is it, ultrasound?
I guess
Echo?
echo
Yeah.
or ultrasound.
Yeah.
I think we were doing the echoes and the ultrasounds prior to the genetic testing.
Right. Well, if you got
Well, yeah.
diagnosed, so how old were your kids when you got diagnosed with
Well,
hypertrophic?
so I was in my early 40s. They were, Amanda was probably 4 years old.
So you
at the
had
time.
kids at the time.
Yeah.
When you found out. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did your life change when you got diagnosed with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy?
It didn't change a whole lot other than, I would say up until this day, the main restriction that I have is heavy duty cardio activity.
Mm. And are you on medication as well?
I am on 2 types of medication, but I feel at this point in my life that I'm very fortunate because I don't have a lot of issues. And, I'm very regimented in taking my medication, proper diet, proper exercise, just keeping up with my regular cardiac visits. And where, we do an echocardiogram and EKG every 6 months.
Do both of you go together or?
No, I just went last year for a checkup and I hadn't had one in a while. And I think now.
At this point, I believe she's supposed to go every 2 years
Okay. Great.
for follow-up.
And I know that it's challenging and it can be scary. Some parents might be scared to get genetic testing because they don't want to know. How do you feel about getting the genetic testing done?
Well, what's nice to know is that when I have kids, I can get a procedure where I no longer pass on the gene to my kids. I think it's smart to get tested as young as you can so you can prepare and be aware and educate yourself and know what the future holds. If she had known, before she was 40, before she had kids, maybe she would have felt differently or wanted to do things differently.
There are those feelings of resentment sometimes, like, why did I go through this or why did I have to go through this? And I know that this was very challenging, I'm sure, for you, Randy.
No, because there's no point in having anger towards something that you don't know is
Or that you can't
100%.
really
Yeah, you
control.
can't
It is
control
what
it.
it is.
It's
So you
amazing.
have to deal with it
Yeah.
and be aware of it and,
Yeah.
know signs and symptoms and what to look for and watch out for. And
You're armed with the information.
And I have a good role model too, because
Beautiful.
she takes good care of herself.
I love that. Love it so much. Randy, can you tell me how you felt when you received the information that Amanda tested positive for the gene?
Well, I think, like, going back to the support group, that it was important to share that information and within the support group and offer that to other people there.
Right.
You know, I remember there was one young lady, Jade was her name. She was young and had just been diagnosed with the same condition. And so it was important for her. I remember she just got married. She wanted to have a family. So it's important to share that information with other people too. And I would think most people would want to know this information.
It's so important. It's so important. I think that that's something that you're imparting on the audience, is that information is invaluable. And
And
and what do you tell people that might be watching this who are scared though, because they don't want the information?
I would just say, be strong, take care of yourself, stay on top of, your doctor's appointments, your medications.
When you're newly arriving, having just been diagnosed with heart disease, it's a lot different than you being a 20-year survivor.
Absolutely.
It's a lot different. So you're giving hope to so many women and mother daughters that,
She's come a long way.
yeah.
She has.
So
She's
tell me your experience of living with a mom who has this condition, who has heart disease.
Well, obviously it's scary because I don't want anything to happen to her, but she's an inspiration and she's my rock, and she does a really good job where even when she's feeling down or, maybe in her head, like, she doesn't put that on us, or she doesn't bring attention to it because, she doesn't want us to worry about her. And she's just, the most selfless person. So we would never know.
I think in the beginning it was harder when I was first diagnosed and trying to process everything and just kind of get through it.
Imagine having like a 4-year-old and like being diagnosed with a heart condition.
This is something I share with the support group, is that when you're newly arriving, having just been diagnosed with heart disease, it's a lot different than you being a 20-year survivor.
At
Yeah.
the time when I started with the support group, I really felt like I needed it. And it was such a comfort to go and hear the stories. So many other stories that I felt were more tragic than my own. But young people, old people, and the inspiring stories that they share and the support that they give one another.
Yeah.
We had some tear-jerking
Oh,
moments
so
in
many
those
over
groups.
these years, forever, still to this day, still to this day. And
I
that's the whole thing, is showing that you are a testament to the evolution and living with heartquake. So I've coined this term heartquake, which is trauma of the heart. And I'm curious, what do you think of that word and what does it elicit within you?
As we've been saying, it's very difficult when you have a diagnosis of any heart condition or you have a tragic episode of a heart attack or heart failure or something that is new.
Yeah.
It shakes you up to know, as we experience with earthquakes, it settles down.